We're learning Zili Nishmas Etta Ahuva Bas Yaakov Maseches Gitin Perik Test Mishna Ches. Get Shekaso Ivris Ve'eda Yavanis, or Yavanis Ve'eda Ivris, or Eid Echad Ivri Ve'ed Echad Yavani. So there's a combination between the get being written in Ivris and the Eidim in Yavanis, or the opposite. The get was written in Yavanis and the Eidim were in Ivris, or one Eid is an Ivri and one Eid is Yavani, or Ksav Soifer Ve'ed, which the Gemara explains is Chasam Soifer Ve'ed, the Soifer sign on it. So you have two Eidim. The Gemara says, what's the Chiddush? I would think that maybe the Baal didn't tell the Soifer to sign. He told two other people to tell the Soifer to write it, and they were embarrassed to tell the Soifer to write it, and instead they told the Soifer to sign, but it wasn't really B'tzivei Baal. And the reason why we're not Choshesh for this, the Gemara says, is because, like we learned earlier in the Masechta, you're not allowed to tell, according to Rabbi Yossi, you're not allowed to tell a Shliach to tell someone else to write the get, because Mili loy mimsira l'shliach, so such a thing would never happen in the first place. Ish ploini aid kosher, ben ish ploini aid kosher, whether he writes ish ploini aid, if he signs it like that, or he writes ben ish ploini aid, both of them are kosher. Also, if he writes ish ploini ben ish ploini v'loy kasav aid, and he doesn't v'rite aid at all, it's also kosher. V'kacha yiniki hadas shebiyushalayim ha'oisen, they would do that because they would write Beloshin Kitzarin, short language. Ksav Chanichase v'Chanichasa, kosher. If he writes a family name or her family name, it's kosher. The Taisus Rid learns over here that it was the derech of people that they would be called after a chosh of a person that lived even 5 generations back. And the Gemara's Machlekes was 10 generations or 3 generations, but many generations back. Let's say there was an Ezra, so then they would name the person years later, they would call him Avram ben Ezra. So like Ben Ezra became like a last name. Nowadays we also have last names that start, some of them Ben something, so that could be, there was originally a chosh of a person in the family that was named that name, and then the whole family got named after that. Get Me'usher bi Yisrael kosher, if you force a person to give a get, B'dinei Yisrael, then it's kosher. The Gemara explains that we're talking about bedin, meaning that it was a halacha we learned in Seches Ksuvis that is kaif in l'haitzi, or she was aser to him, so then we were forcing him bedinei Yisrael to give the get. Such a get is kosher. And the Gemara explains that if it was forced shaloi kedin, though, if it was ansur shaloi kedin, then it would be possible, but it would still have reach haget to call her a grusha l'inyan kuhuna. Ubagoyim, if the goyim forced, so then it's a level down. Even if they didn't kedin, puzzle, such a get is not going to be a get. And if they did shaloi kedin, it's not even going to be a reach a get. It's not even going to puzzle her for a grusha. Now the Mishnah goes back. The Rav learns to Dinei Yisrael. If they were forcing him b'Dinei Yisrael, so then you could even use goyim to do that forcing. Let's say it's not working through Dayana Yisrael, so then goyim the goyim could be like our shluchim to tell him that you have to do what you were told to do b'Dayana Yisrael, and such a get would then be kosher. Mishnah test. That's a shame be'ir mikudeshes. If there was a rumor that a lady was mikudeshes, harezu mikudeshes, we have a halacha as if she's mikudeshes. The Gemara explains that we're talking about that it wasn't just a rumor, it was kadeshi yuneir's dolkos mitu mutzas b'nei adam nechnasim v'yotzim, and so there was very clear evidence that she was mikudeshes. Migureshes, harezi migureshes. So the Gemara explains this is going on the Reisha. If the curl went out, v'shoivra imay, and it went out, the breaking of that curl, meaning a curl went out mikudeshes and migureshes, so then we listen to that also, and she's harezu migureshes. V'avad shelo yehei sham amasa, as long as in the kedushin or the gerushin there was no strings attached. Ezu amasa, like the Mishnah says, girish ishplani yisishal tanai. So then we don't know. Maybe it wasn't mekayim the tanai. Or Zarak la Kedushin Safik Karav Lo, Safik Karav Loi. So we don't know if the Kedushin was actually given, so then it would not be the same halacha. Zuhi Hamasla.